They once worked together a long time ago. They're not friends now. They don't like each other. And yeah, 50 has taken every shot, especially.
Did you explain why he's speaking out now?
He said he's speaking out because he believes Diddy's a predator. He wants accountability, and he doesn't want someone like this to run unchecked.
They used to work together years ago. Now there's nothing left between them but pure hostility. No friendship, no respect, just a longing rivalry that's turned personal. And 50 Cent isn't taking shots for fun anymore. This time he's trying to hit where it actually hurts. When people asked why he is going so hard right now, 50's answer was simple. He believes Diddy has been allowed to move unchecked for too long and that the moment for accountability is finally here. And then the story took a turn nobody expected because the footage at the center of this controversy was never meant to see daylight. People close to the situation say it was considered too explosive, too risky, too dangerous to ever be released. But somewhere between a betrayal inside Diddy's own circle and 50's patience, the one recording that was supposed to stay buried ended up online. And when it hit, it did not trend. It detonated. Not Diddy, not his lawyers, not even the public relations machine. December 1st, 2025. Because now the man many once called the most powerful figure in hip-hop was not running the game anymore. He was watching the narrative flip on him from a prison television. And that is the part people keep circling. Diddy did not just lose a headline. He lost the one thing he could never afford to lose: control of the story.
Out in front of this and tried to persuade Netflix not to come forward with it. I think it's an interesting argument because what they're claiming is, Curtis Jackson, aka 50 Cent, has had a long-standing, animosity against Diddy and sort of vice versa. And because he's at the helm, they're arguing this can't be taken seriously. This should sort of be seen as propaganda. And one of the things that Netflix hit back with was, yes, he's the executive producer. He doesn't necessarily have creative control. And that's something
That is why the Netflix release is being framed like more than a documentary. It plays like a public takedown. And the person holding the spotlight is not a prosecutor. It is his oldest rival. Before the premiere, Diddy's legal team reportedly tried to stop the project, arguing it was basically executive-produced propaganda with 50's fingerprints all over it. Netflix pushed back, saying 50 did not have creative control over the final cut. Then the night before the premiere, Diddy's side allegedly escalated with a cease and desist, claiming the entire project was built on stolen footage and private recordings never meant for the public. And those recordings are what changed the temperature. According to how the docu-series frames it, the footage catches Diddy in the days leading up to his September 2024 arrest ranting, panicking, and demanding loyalty from people who were already stepping away. The irony is brutal. The cameras meant to protect his image may have captured the moments that damaged it most. Viewers are shown him pacing in a hotel suite, snapping at people around him, barking at lawyers, talking like he is trying to handle problems before they explode. The tone is not calm. It is pressure. It is panic. It is the sound of someone realizing the walls are closing in. And then the brand starts sounding different. Bad Boy stops feeling like marketing and starts feeling like a warning. Once the clip spread, people latched on to a moment that felt small but said everything. Diddy in Harlem smiling for fans, then recoiling and asking for hand sanitizer like the crowd was beneath him. Polished charm in public. Visible disgust the moment the angle shifts. That contrast is what made people say this is not a misunderstanding.
Put his hands on females, put his hands on producers, executives. That's just his, I guess that's what the whole name Bad Boy comes from, that people don't really understand. What is it? What is a bad boy? Why did he choose that name? He never really gave a clear definition of how he feels about it.
This is who he is when the mask slips behind the scenes. The legal response was immediate. Reports say his lawyers leaned on attorney-client privilege, arguing private strategy conversations were exposed illegally. But by the time that argument hit, the damage was already done. The clips were out. The conversation moved, and there was no spin strong enough to put the footage back in the bottle. Netflix's side said the footage was obtained legally, the rights were secured, and the source would remain protected. Director Alexandria Stapleton leaned into a sharper point, too, suggesting Diddy spent decades filming himself, building an archive without realizing he was documenting his own downfall. He wanted the world behind the scenes. Now, The world is behind the scenes without his permission. And when Netflix reached out for comment, Diddy's camp reportedly stayed quiet until the premiere hit. Then the tone changed fast. Suddenly, the lawyers were loud, aggressive, urgent. But by then, the narrative had already shifted. Not from is he guilty to he is finished. From is this real to how much has been hidden for years. Even some people who once defended him started saying it did not feel like brand new information. It felt like missing pieces clicking into place.
That I have about the documentary, it was just old news, and they took a couple of with the footage from Puff from the days that's leading up him to get arrested, the incidents with the people from the courts, the two people from the courts. So it was nothing new.
And the twist did not only come from what was on the tape, it came from how it got out. Michael Oberle, the man Diddy hired to document his life for more than 2 years, was presented as a key figure in how the archive existed. The plan, as described, was to build a comeback film, something that would show resilience and control. But in December 2024, Oberle made a claim that changed the angle. He said he did not leak anything. He claimed someone inside Diddy's inner circle covered for him for 3 days while he was out of state. And during that short window, the footage was taken. 3 days. That is all it took. Just long enough for someone to see an opening, whether it was money, revenge, or chaos, and hand the most damaging material straight into the hands of 50's camp. Oberle's side called it a betrayal of trust. Online, people called it karma. And then came what the documentary frames as the final piece, the clip that allegedly silenced the last doubts. In that moment, the docu-series claims Diddy is seen or heard pressuring someone close to him after showing them an explicit party video using the threat of exposure as leverage. The line presented is not flirtation. It lands like control through fear. That is why the public conversation shifted to one word: coercion. And the series pushes the idea that if the court accepts accounts like Cass's, moments like that would not be one mistake. They would be evidence of a pattern. But the docu-series does not stop with one clip. It widens the frame to the world that surrounded him for years. It brings up the legendary white parties. The invite-only nights that looked glamorous from the outside with A-list names floating through the orbit like it was the Oscars of excess. Then it contrasts that shine with what neighbors and locals allegedly dealt with. Complaints, police calls, reports of guests wandering outside at dawn looking dazed and disoriented. From there, the documentary links the party culture to lawsuits stacking up. It references allegations from different years, including claims involving a minor in the late 1990s, a security guard who said he was drugged and assaulted in the mid-2000s, and a former adult performer who said she was groomed through multiple events. The series keeps pushing one point. This is not random. It is systemic.
Look at how many people he affected negatively. That was his trade-off to gain what he had. His former bodyguard, Gene Deal, said he seen him doing a ritual where they dub. What is that? And I feel like it's being overlooked because they see him doing the dance moves with the baggy clothes. Some of the ladies in his videos were trans.
Then it cuts back to what it presents as Diddy's own words before his arrest. The docu-series claims he is caught on camera telling his lawyers they are losing, snapping back when someone tries to reassure him. It plays like panic in real time, not someone managing a storm, someone realizing he cannot. And as celebrities reacted, the divide got louder. Ja Rule criticized 50 and called him a dry snitch. Marlon Wayans warned about karma, then got dragged when 50 posted older footage connecting him to the party scene. Joe Budden took a harder line, arguing the documentary is not only about Diddy. It is about the system that protected him. Labels, lawyers, executives, artists, people who benefited while the money never stopped flowing. And that is where the conversation gets dangerous because it stops being about one man. It becomes about an entire machine. Empires built on silence only survive as long as the people inside them stay quiet. And right now, that silence is gone. The dam is not just cracking, it is collapsing. Whispers turn into testimonies. Rumors turn into lawsuits. People who stayed quiet for years start giving interviews. Voices shaking but still speaking. The more they talk, the clearer the picture becomes. This does not look like one downfall. It looks like a whole system being exposed. And systems do not run on emotion. They run on money. That brings us to the power moves behind the curtain. Because this web of silence is not only personal, it is financial. It is leverage. It is careers, brands, and bank accounts. That is why Kim Porter's 2018 passing keeps getting pulled back into the conversation. Officially, her death was ruled as natural causes by Los Angeles County, but the internet never stopped whispering, and the documentary leans into that tension, hinting that what she knew and what she may have had access to could be part of why her name keeps resurfacing whenever this story explodes again. Beyond that, the legal pressure keeps stacking. Lawsuits are piling up. Former employees, producers, and people connected to the inner circle are now fighting over what they claim happened and what they believe they are owed. What used to be handled quietly through non-disclosure agreements and behind-the-scenes settlements is being described as open legal warfare now. And in the public conversation, these cases are not only being framed as justice, they are being framed as payback. Because when an empire crumbles, everyone who stayed quiet suddenly remembers what they saw. Everyone who played along suddenly wants distance. Everyone who felt used suddenly wants their version of the truth on the record. Look at the timing. The docu series drops and suddenly voices that have been silent for years start talking. That does not feel random. That feels like survival.
Collect everybody's phone. So now it's just your word against a billionaire. You're gonna lose. Read this right there.
People rewriting their roles, flipping loyalties, trying to land on the right side of history before the door slams shut. But what really has people shaking is not only what has already been shown, it is what has not been shown yet. Because if the clips that surfaced are this damaging, imagine what is still buried. The documentary hints Diddy has been filming obsessively since he was 19. Every party, every meeting, every private conversation, an archive. And if even part of that is true, then the scary question is not whether tapes exist.
Where Diddy said to her,
showed her
she
the video,
testified
showed her
that
the freak-off video.
he showed her a video of a freak-off that she participated in and said, if you don't participate in another freak-off when we get to New York, I'm gonna put this video out. I'm gonna send it to your mother.
And that's coercion.
She testified
if it's true.
to that.
If the jury
if they believed her,
yeah,
that's coercion. They would have
Where Diddy said to her, showed her the testified freak video. He showed her a video of a freak-off that she participated in and said, if you don't participate in another freak-off when we get to New York, I'm going to put this video out. I'm going to send it to your mother. And that's coercion. She testified that if the jury believed her, yeah, that's coercion, they would have cast.
Book Porter allegedly recounts discovering and making copies of the tapes that Diddy made of himself having with young boys that he was managing, including an alleged tape involving an 18-year-old pop star.
So, the question becomes, how far will people go to keep those recordings hidden? How much money will be thrown at silence? And what happens when somebody decides the price of silence is no longer worth it? Because power only lasts as long as people are willing to enforce it. And right now, Diddy's inner circle is not only cracking, it is turning on itself. Roger Bonds, described as a former head of security, broke down in tears and suggested it was not only Sean. He framed it like something bigger, like a network where multiple people carry responsibility. And when someone who was paid to protect you starts talking like that, it makes people wonder what the people off payroll are about to reveal. Next come the workers nobody sees. Assistants, road managers, people who were in rooms but never on camera, artists who left Bad Boy with stories they were too afraid to tell until now. That is the real shift. The documentary might end, but the reckoning does not. If anything, it opens the door. And the biggest question hanging in the air is simple. Who is next? Because Diddy did not build this world alone. The white parties were not a private playground. They were industry events. The culture around them involved too many people, too many careers, too many silent agreements. So when federal authorities reportedly raided homes connected to Diddy in 2024, people immediately started asking the same thing. What else was found? What names were in those files? How many powerful people are sweating right now, wondering whether their past is about to become tomorrow's headline? Because this story was never only about Diddy. It is about a system built on untouchable fame and unchecked power. An era where the rules were written by people who believed consequences were for someone else. But now the rules look different. So where are we now? A mogul in custody. A family still pushing denial. An entire industry holding its breath. Footage that people say rewrites the public memory of what was happening. And the belief that more exists. Recordings that could burn whatever is left of that legacy to the ground. Artists who once praised him are suddenly acting like they barely knew him. And fans are left staring at the music they grew up on, wondering how much of it was built on something darker than anyone wanted to admit. This documentary gave people answers, but it left bigger questions. What happens when the last loyalist flips? When the final non-disclosure agreement expires? When the next tape drops? Because make no mistake, people believe more is coming. And if this much surfaced while he still had influence, imagine what could surface now that he does not. So tell me, how deep do you think this really goes? Are we watching the fall of one man or the unraveling of an entire system built on silence and control? Drop your theories in the comments. I want to know what you think. And remember, stay sharp, stay skeptical, and never ignore the secrets people fight hardest to keep buried. We are just getting started. I will see you in the next one.